The Spartan Global Development Fund is a student organization and registered 501c3 nonprofit on the campus of Michigan State University. Spartan Global consists of students, faculty, and alumni who work together to foster sustainable economic and social development throughout developing regions of the world by offering aspiring entrepreneurs in these impoverished communities interest-free microloans to grow and develop small businesses. Microfinance is a general term that describes financial services that are offered to those living below the poverty line. Microfinance includes microsavings, microinsurance, and microlending. Spartan Global focuses specifically on microlending in the fact that we give interest-free microloans to aspiring entrepreneurs in developing regions across the world. Spartan Global extends interest-free microloans in two different ways. Kiva is an online microlending platform where anyone in the world with internet access can choose to sponsor an aspiring entrepreneur. The second way in which Spartan Global extends interest-free microloans is through a direct lending process, in which we work directly with humanitarian field partners and organizations on the ground in target communities where we want to extend a microloan. Currently, Spartan Global works directly with As Green as It Gets, which is a nonprofit organization based out of Antigua, Guatemala. By nature of our work, the members of Spartan Global often feel disconnected to those we actually lend to. This is because we don't operate on the ground in these communities. We simply serve as a financial service in the form of microloans. No member of Spartan Global had actually met a microloan recipient. That completely changed with this trip.
My students have been working for the last year to raise funds. In fact, we've had students working since 2009 to raise funds to make microloans. And this is the final link in the chain here.
We're currently in the Atlanta airport right now, waiting to board our final flight to Guatemala City, where we're going to meet some of our past loan recipients and interact with them, which will be pretty cool.
So we are going to Guatemala to kind of follow up with a lot of the people that Spartan Global has given small loans to over the years, and also to network with the NGO that we've worked with for a lot of different years, who works on the ground in Guatemala.
I really want to learn to do a lot of the different things that we're going to see, so hopefully like all the different workshops and talking with all the people that we've loaned to will really like help me understand both my knowledge of microfinance and just how their economy works.
I think this is going to be a very moving experience. It'll be cool to see what life is actually like down there, but as far as expectations, I don't really know what's going to happen.
You'll have a chance to work with iron workers, you'll have a chance to work with jade workers, to work with coffee growers, coffee roasters, even the ladies who are making breakfast for you in the mornings, they are doing that as a small business. So you'll be seeing small businesses all throughout this week. Ask away, these guys, everybody will tell you a different variation of the same story. I'll tell you the perspective from the administrator side. Victor will tell you the side from the coffee roaster. Byron will tell you from a guy getting started in making green coffee. All those stories are true and valid, but your perspectives will be very different. But ask lots of questions and find out what's happening with your funding, and find out what the impact is that you're having. And I'm hoping that you go, hey, this is interesting. We're making a positive impact. We want to do more of that.
Microfinance is completely different in the fact that this is not just a donation where the money disappears. That money will eventually come back to Spartan Global because it is a loan. We invest in opportunity, we are investing in people's aspirations and dreams, so at the end of the day, that money circulates back to us at Spartan Global. And what we are able to do with that money is we are able to reinvest that money in another entrepreneur, in another set of dreams, in another set of hopes to make someone's life better, to make a community better. It is not a handout, it is a hand up.
The obvious impact is, altering the trajectory of the lives of these loan recipients. I don't think I fully comprehended what this means to the students. To go down there and, watch these student reactions, sitting behind the camera and seeing, how everyone's interacting with the environment was really interesting. You could see, the wheels turning and, the thoughts forming, Like, this is a different world. Like, not for better or for worse. It's just different.
I don't know, I've never necessarily been to a food farm.
Yeah.
Just like come here and see that and see how it could potentially help others in the community. I find that really neat.
I thought it was interesting that it was literally just this small little operation on the side of a hill in Guatemala. And by doing that, they can basically support everyone in their local community instead of relying on someone else to do it. Those hogs that we just were at wanted that operation to then supply kind of meat essentially to the butcher shop that we just gave a $1,000 loan to, because there are a lot of potential synergies that could come out of it.
Seeing like pictures in an email is one thing, but actually being there, seeing how it's going to set up, feeling the environment, sensing the opportunity when you're actually there, it's totally different than seeing it online. It makes it a lot more real. Real people, real money.
It's exciting.
Real excitement. Yeah, exactly.
When you see, these videos about donating, to impoverished people, it paints it in such a dim light. People look sad, and so to be sitting, on campus, thinking you're solving poverty, this trope is almost funny when you go down there and see, no, these people are happy, they're living lives. But also to see like what Access to Capital did, or how it altered their perspective of what we're doing. I thought was really meaningful and impactful, and ultimately validated why this organization exists.
What would be a more equitable way in transacting? So would be the alternative to that.
This would be the equitable way of having that transaction, putting you guys right next to each other.
And does the screens it gets facilitate that sort of?
So up to now you haven't really seen that, but tomorrow you're going to be getting coffee from Alberto. Alberto has now received that money, and then you guys are getting your coffee.
So today we are headed to the coffee fields of Johnny and Alberto Hernandez, who are two loan recipients that we gave in total around $1,400 this past June. And the reason we gave them this money is because they were experiencing some difficulties in their coffee fields related to fungal diseases. So first we're gonna pick coffee with them, and then we're gonna roast it. So it should be a really exciting day. Really excited to see what the money that all of us that we gave, what that's been able to do in this community.
A cup of coffee, how much is it in the US?
$4.
$4.
It depends on like the brand.
Depende de dónde, de qué estamos hablando.
On average, it's like $4.
$4. Sí, $4. En general, como decimos, $4.
Va. $4 que estamos hablando, 7.28 quetzales.
We're talking about 28 quetzales.
Poniendo los 7.28 quetzales, una taza de café. Sí.
1 cup of coffee.
Y acá nosotros, la libra la estamos vendiendo a 60 quetzales.
So we're selling it at 60 quetzales a pound.
Y de una libra de café salen 50 tazas.
1 pound of coffee you get 50 cups.
¿Cuánto está ganando este finquero?
So how much is the middleman earning?
Sí, ya en la venta ya.
Making. And that
$4 por 50 es un, o sea, ¿y quién hace el trabajo? Nosotros los campesinos.
Who does the work?
Sí.
We do, the farmers.
Sí, sí.
But now with as green as it gets, he's earning more than what other people who are selling it to the middlemen are earning.
So right now what we're doing is we're picking off all of the coffee fruits, the coffee cherries that are completely red. When they're like a dark red color without any yellow or orange on them, that means that they are completely ripe. We are leaving all of the green ones because that means that they are not ripe enough to pick yet, and those people will come around later to get them.
And typically in an 8-hour period, Alberto would try and pick
at the peak of the harvest. But for us, we are trying to shoot for 50.
Yep.
Maybe.
I had always thought that the loans were kind of just like a supplement to help kind of energize the business. And, I didn't really realize how like actually life-altering they really are. Like the loan to Alberto kind of saved his business, which was really cool. So just knowing that and seeing it in person kind of just definitely motivates me a lot more.
You have to move.
Thinking about how, depending on like what other like systems you use, like with a middleman or even just like traditional banking, like how much money you get in compensation for all of the work that you're doing when you're doing all of like the real hard work, growing the plants, harvesting the plants. Like you deserve a lot more, and like doing this, it like makes sure that they get what they actually earn.
When Alberto repays his loan, that means that we can then take that money and transform it and extend it to someone else, exactly like Alberto, who needs a little bit of help now to kind of expand and to scale up and to overcome a difficulty like a fungal disease. So it's not, none of this is like a present wrapped in a bow tie that we never see again. Like we then also get that money back.
La miel y todo esto.
Doesn't have the honey anymore, the pulp.
Como ustedes se dan cuenta,
So as you have seen, my coffee is still green, but as it ripens, I hope to sell my product, and then I will repay back the loan you have given. As he has said, we have been developing our way of living. He started by himself, but then I got into working with him later. So before starting with, when I was still working with my father, I had nothing, but now I recently bought 4 cuerdas of land, and now I can say that I have a coffee plantation of my own. So thanks to your help, I have not been able only to help my father, but I have also been able to start my own business. So we have been improving our life not only financially, but also as a person.
To spend an entire day with Alberto, a coffee farmer, and actually see his life and see his work and see his business reinforces everything that I've been doing since I've been a part of the organization. And I think that motivation spreads throughout the entire organization, that this is something that is real.
Everything that you guys are participating here, the artisans are paid at full retail value, 100% of the retail value of the product. We've been in the middle, not because we're trying to obscure what's happening, it's because our guys can't receive a check from the United States. So as green as it gets, have been in the middle to facilitate that payment, not to separate you from that payment.
I think that it's important to build those relationships with people that are on the ground, not only for like validation, but also being down there is going to kind of give us that like tangible edge when we're back here, and that's going to filter down when people kind of move out of the organization.
All of us got to be directly involved with Franklin Voorhees, who is the director of our field partner, as green as it gets. And so we had hours and hours to experience together, to ask him questions, for him to learn about us, for us to talk with him about possible future projects.
We are a small-scale incubator of businesses for those with an entrepreneurial spirit. We have this crazy understanding of poverty, that poverty isn't really the lack of health care or the lack of education or the lack of food, it's really the lack of money.
Being down there and talking with Franklin in person, that relationship that Professor Stenzel built years ago is still in existence, and now we have a relationship with him also.
My name is Victor Catalí. I am original from here. I live here with my family and with everybody. We started living here since we were kids in San Juan del Obispo. We're happy and thankful that you're visiting us. Have that saying that goes, my house is your house.
casa es tu casa.
So Victor Catavi may be in
2011, 2012, he came and asked for employment at As Green as It Gets It. We needed somebody with his skill set. He actually started with us with an employee relationship at that point. And he's on the outskirts, he's working and he's watching what's happening with the other farmers, and eventually he kind of says, hey, I could do that too. And so he kind of tangented at that point and became one of our participants as opposed to somebody who was working for us.
In August of 2016, we lent Victor $1,300 US to purchase a pulpero, which is a coffee processing equipment to take coffee cherries that are picked right from the coffee plant, and then it kind of dehusks coffee in a way where it takes out the outer skin. And that is a really important step in the process of roasting coffee, of getting the coffee from the tree to the cup.
Now we have the pulpero, so now they will have more business because I can buy his fruit here. If they don't going for long way for sell the fruit, he can sell it with us. So that is my thinking and the future.
I can't imagine taking the beans out of the coffee fruit by hand without a pulpero. I mean, that's like, I don't mean, like, is that even feasible? Like, I don't know. That's crazy to me. So they're already working for such a small amount of pay to be able to use that is amazing.
Seeing the whole process and all the labor that it takes.
Yeah.
Makes you want to buy better coffee. Ooh.
Smell.
This is why you have to grind it fresh every morning.
Okay.
Jamie's gonna cry. Super.
Best coffee I've ever had in my life. Cheers, Guatemala.
So you get to see him and how he takes pride in his work based off of, what he's been able to do, what he's been able to accomplish. He, right now, he's bettering himself, but once he pays back the money, that's another Victor that's going to be making improvements in their lives.
I can train them in many facets of the business. I don't know how to train them to have an entrepreneurial spirit. So they've got to have that as a starting point. Now he's off and running, and that will look better and better as time goes on.
The original contract for the loan was 2 years. So when we visited Victor and when we were in Guatemala, there were still 6 months left on Victor's loan. So while we were interviewing him and the impact that this microloan from Spartan Global had on his business.
Muchas gracias a ustedes.
Thank you. My family and I are very thankful very thankful to you for giving us this opportunity of a loan. I have been able to produce more coffee, to roast more coffee, and to process coffee. Thanks to God, this year has been a nice year because now that I have sold my product,
y aquí los tengo, ya de regreso. Entonces, se los entrego a ustedes y les doy muchísimas gracias. Gracias porque esto me ayudó bastante y los tengo.
So I want to give it back to you. This has helped me a lot, so I want to thank you for
He actually pulled out the $1,300 in cash and repaid us on the spot. It took all of us by surprise.
Full circle.
To see that and actually have that interaction and that transaction face to face was probably one of the most powerful moments for me, not only on that trip, but in my entire life. And to have that repayment from Victor just brought it all together. And that proved that we did it right, that it worked. We have been able to truly see that microcredit is not just a financial service. It is opportunity. It is the hopes and dreams of people that we have only met prior to this trip through a computer screen. We were able to go down and live with these people, to be in their community, to be with them, and to work side by side with them I think there is a unified experience that this was validation of the work that we have done and the work that is left to do by this organization.
The mission will remain the same. I think we'll continue to help out these loan ventures and to identify the field partners and kind of replicate this model in different countries. But I think we're now growing into also helping to import coffee or whatever that good is. So there's room for expansion now, which is cool. Which also now give us the opportunity to go down and do this again in different areas, and helps to cultivate more well-rounded people.
What this trip has done is it's completed the loop by linking our students directly to the human being who received the loan and directly to that person's family. And our students have been able to be in the midst of the culture and see how people live, their personal relationships that are a nice story if I tell it in class, but to actually be here and experience it and be a part of it is something that I cannot do in the classroom.
You don't change the world overnight. It takes small steps of positive progress in the right direction in order to impact meaningful change in this world. Yes, we are small. Yes, Spartan Global has a small funding base and a small set of members, but that doesn't mean we have a small impact. We have been able to see that a small group of students, alumni, and faculty can have the impact on the lives of entrepreneurs throughout the entire world. This trip has validated the work that we have been able to do, and in effect sets a stage for future success, because we are able to see that microfinance is not just the extension of credit, it is the extension of opportunity. We are small, but we have an incredible impact, and that's what matters. We advance lives by funding opportunity. Though we may not change the entire world at once, we are changing it one loan at a time.